Number one, the future you should make all decisions. The current you is pleasure seeking, impatient, and so on. And so the current version of you might not want to go to the gym, but the future you would be proud that you went to the gym despite not feeling like it. The future you would want you to study, would want you to work hard, because the future you is who benefits from those actions, even though the current you might not want to do those things. And so when you change your mindset from what I want to do to what would the future me want to do, all of a sudden you will start making better choices in all realms of life, from exercise and diet to work and so on, that you will then reap the rewards for in the future. And trust me, everyone has said, I wish I had started earlier, I wish I did it younger, but the fact of the matter is, this is the youngest you will ever be for the rest of your life. So start now. Number two, fail more. Now it might sound counterintuitive. How can I improve my life by failing? But in actuality, once you reframe yourself and you start seeing these failures not as failures but as lessons that become the investment into your future self. If you look at the things where you learn the most, it was usually periods of your life where you also had a lot of failure. And so failure and pushing yourself with those limits is what will make you grow that much more. And once again, in the future, you will be thankful for it. Because even though failure does not feel good in the moment, in the future, you will be always proud that you had the bravery to do it anyway, despite it being hard, despite you knowing that there is a risk of failure, which is completely real. And when you push yourself that much and you fail again and again and again, you find yourself not only becoming better by learning from the failures, you also grow as a person. If you look at the people that most people look up to, the greats of the world, we don't look up to them because they have money or status. We look at them and look up to them because of who they had to become. And usually that process of who they had to become to achieve all those great things was a process of multiple failures happening over and over again and again. So don't be afraid to fail. And in the reality, you should look to push yourself to the limits where failure is a possibility. Number three, say no more. A lot of people, they are these kind of yes men. Every time someone gets asked something, or hey, could you do this, or could you do that, or do you want to come here, or let's do this, you say yes. But the more you start saying no, the more time and energy you will simply have for the things that are actually important. And so sometimes you're just gonna have to say no, even though you might not want to do it. It's hard to say no when a friend invites you out, but you gotta say, this time I'm not coming, I got something else. I need to go to the gym, I need to focus on myself, I need to do this, next week I might come. But you have to learn to say no. And one of the easiest ways to say no is to never even be asked. The best way to say no to drugs is to be in an environment and around people who don't use drugs. Because then no one will ever offer you even the possibility of drugs, because everyone will be so opposed to it. And another thing is that you can wake up super early. And I don't mean like crazy like 4 a.m., but just waking up at 7 a.m., 6 a.m. Most people are still sleeping. That gives you a good amount of time where you can work, where you can go to the gym, where you can do whatever you have to do. And once you're in that early morning doing those things, nobody will be sending you messages to ask you to come out, or hey, let's go bowling or whatever, because everyone else will be asleep. And so waking up early is one of the easiest way to eliminate distractions because no one will be there to distract you. So learn to flex that no muscle of yours that you have in your brain and say no to all the things distracting you from your goals. Number 4, all hope placed on humans die with them. But hope placed on God, an eternal being, won't die. And I don't mean this in some super fancy sense. Of course, you can look at that religiously and say, yes, we should place our hope on God instead of on mortals. And absolutely, I agree with that. But the point is also to make you realize that you shouldn't place your hopes on finite things. No matter your beliefs, it should be that you place your hope on things that actually last. Because if you place your hope on things that are finite and that eventually will degrade and be gone, then by definition your hope will be fleeting. And so you should always find things that give you hope that are in some way very hard to destroy and are in some way, at least to some degree, eternal. And it could be something like, being remembered. A memory of a person like Alexander the Great has lived on a lot longer than any one of the humans that were alive back then. So placing your hopes on a memory and on the legacy and glory, or whatever you want to call it, is a lot better than placing it on the humans back then, because it lasts a lot longer. And so you should always find something that is not fleeting if you're gonna place your hope on it. Number 5, in a very similar way, there is a quote by, I think, Alexander the Great, who I just mentioned, which goes like this: nothing material can be taken with you to the grave. Once again, the material world, everything is fleeting, everything will disappear or degrade, die, be destroyed, even the rock and the asteroid in space will eventually hit something and then will fall into pieces, right? And so you cannot take the material into the afterlife. And if you don't even believe in the afterlife, then you cannot take the material with you to the nothingness. And so you should try to find a deeper meaning to your life. And once again, of course, God is a great way to put it. You should put your hope in God. You should let God, be a part of your life, and all of a sudden life is a lot better. You have this infinite source of hope and all these great benefits that come from believing in God. But even if you don't want to believe in God, even if you're super opposed to that, then first of all, maybe you should look at why you're so opposed to it. And second of all, once again, try finding something immaterial to define your life around. Because once again, if you define your life around the material, then you will fall simply into hedonism, and once again, by definition, it will not last. It will be gone one day, and so will every piece of hope, every piece of happiness and satisfaction that you might get out of those fleeting and disappearing things. Number 6. Stop using social media and watching the news. Now, you probably cannot stop completely and eliminate all of this completely, because it's so integrated into every part of our lives. But you should try to reduce the amount of time that you use on social media and even the news. And as a person who's intentionally done that, limited my use on social media, limited my use of, and watching the news and reading the news, my life is better. I'm just a lot happier. And you can say that ignorance is bliss and all these things, and sure, it might be true, but trust me, once you stop caring about, the thing that happens every 2 weeks, that everyone is supposed to pick a side, and it's this big thing, and everyone's supposed to have their take, and everyone's supposed to feel strong emotions about it, it's just when you don't care, and it's just like, I don't care. And when people come and ask me like, oh, what do you think about the current thing XYZ that happened? And I'm just like, I don't care. Nor do I even know it. Because I don't read the news that much. They're always surprised. Oh my God, how can you not care? How can you not, this, that, you're supposed to care. But the reality is, no one will care in 2 weeks. Even the people who will ask you, what's your opinion about XYZ? Or what do you think about this or that? Even those people won't care in 2 weeks. Because in 2 weeks, there will be the new thing that everyone's supposed to care about. And so when you stop yourself from going in this cycle of every 2 weeks there's a new thing that you're supposed to care so much about, all of a sudden you just have so much more energy to care about things that actually affect your life and actually improve your life. Because yes, on the other side of the world something bad happened. I believe you. But at the same time, what can I do about it, and how does it even in any way affect what I'm supposed to do in my day-to-day life to have the best life possible? And the answer is probably nothing. So try eliminating all that negative stuff that simply makes you feel bad or gets strong emotions out of you like anger, because none of that will help you or make you happier or even change the world. You being angry at the news won't even change what happened in the news. So try eliminating all that negative stuff in general. Number 7. Those who work their land will have abundant food, but those who chase fantasies have no sense. This is a quote from the Bible, but it makes so much sense. And well, once again, book of wisdom the Bible is. And so this proverb and verse is so amazing because it just tells us very simple. It's actions that matter. If you don't work on your land, and your land might be work, studies, whatever, your life, the land might be a bit different. It might not actually be physical land, but still, it's like you actually have to go and take actions and do things. Things have to actually be done, and then you will have abundant food and abundant of everything that you want. You cannot change the world by simply wondering, and you cannot change your life by simply dreaming and by simply thinking about, well, what if I did this? What if I did that? So you actually have to take actions. You actually have to put in the work. You actually have to take the steps. You actually have to do the things despite them being hard. And only then will you have the abundant food. And if you just chase fantasies, then you will get nothing. And so you should try to become the type of person who always takes action and try to shorten the amount of time that it takes from, you have a thought to the time that you take action. Because if the time is really big and it's like, yeah, I'm thinking about a thing, and 10 years later you actually start working on it, but it's like, oh, maybe I should work out and go to the gym, and only 10 years later you start going to the gym, then that's not very good. But if you become the type of person who takes action almost instantly, hey, I should probably start going to the gym more, and the next day you are at the gym, that's a lot better, because it's actually the action of going to the gym that will change your life, not just thinking about, I should go to the gym. And also, you should try to become the type of person where your actions speak louder than your words. Because when you actually take those actions, people see you taking them. There's always that guy who talks all about everything, like, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then they never do it. So be the guy who maybe doesn't even talk about it. He just does it. Number 8. So be a good person. Do righteous things and be good to others, and then you can sleep well at night. Evil doers and people who wrong others will always have to sleep with one eye open. And so you should always be a good person and treat others well and do what is right and be kind and don't wrong others. Because if you wrong others, if you snake others, if you do evil stuff and bad stuff, then for the rest of your life, a part of you will have to feel retribution. And it's just a lot easier living your life when you don't have to feel the consequences of bad actions. And so try to always do the correct thing, the right thing, and then you can sleep well at night. It's so much easier. You won't have this mental burden in your head just weighing you down on, man, maybe I shouldn't have done that or done that, you know. So try to be a good person, and of course it's hard, of course it's difficult, of course it's gonna require a lot, but it's truly one of the best things you can do for yourself. You know, I'm not saying this as like, oh, you know, you should do this to be the most moral person. No, for yourself. It will eliminate so much stress from your life. You can feel good about yourself. I mean, giving to charity is one of the greatest ways to get some dopamine hits in your head. So, like, being a good person is good for you. And that's probably one of the big reasons why you should do it. You know, like, it sounds selfish, but at the same time, like, yeah, it's true. Being a good person is good for you and me and the person being good, not just the person who they're being good to. Number 9, the second last one, speak less. Consider your words carefully. You know, there's so many people who just talk so much they just never stop yapping. But you should. First of all, when you actually listen to what others say, you can respond better. You can actually be a good listener and people appreciate that. And also, when you consider your words carefully, you will say a lot more wise stuff. The words that come out of your mouth will be a lot smarter. You won't make stupid mistakes by saying things that you didn't really thought out. You will only say things that you actually, oh, yep, I've thought about this and I know I'm gonna say it and I will stand by it. And you know, also, if you think about it, supply and demand. If the demand for you speaking is here and you lower the supply, what happens to the value of your words? The value of you speaking? It goes up. And so, if you're this type of guy who always yaps and always talks and you're like, no one's listening to me, then maybe if you're silent for the next 10 minutes and then you open your mouth, then everyone's like, oh, this guy who's been silent the whole time opens his mouth. Let's listen to him now. Think about that. And number 10, lastly, one of the most important things you can do to improve your life is to guard your heart, because it's the only thing keeping you alive. And so, as always, stay disciplined, chase your dreams, and have a fantastic day.